Felicitations, adventurers! Welcome to Roll for Felicity, where today we are playing the first session of our limited series of Wanderhome that we are calling Shall We? And we invite you to come along with us on this journey of all of our characters who are looking for a place to call home. My name is Taylor Felicity. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm going to be the producer for this stream, but we are playing this GM-less, so I may be a little bossy in my producership because I know what time we need to end by and when we need to take our break. But as far as the game itself, we're all equally in charge of whatever happens here. I mentioned that we're playing Wanderhome. I'll talk a little bit more about Wanderhome itself in a moment. But first, I'm going to throw it over to my players to introduce themselves. And we're going to start with Melanie.
Hello, my name is Melanie Andrews, and my pronouns are she, her, and I can't remember if I was told to say anything else besides those things.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Mila, how about you?
Hello, I am Mila. They, them.
And then Zay.
I'm Zay. Also they, them.
I almost just choked on my own spit, so that's a good start.
I know, it's surprising.
A spooky start.
A scary start to the session. As I mentioned, I was going to talk a little bit more about the game that we're playing. We are playing Wanderhome by J Dragon. I also wanted to mention that two of us are playing playbooks that are in the Wanderhome core rulebook, but two of us are playing other playbooks, and we're also using a part of our location that is not from the core rulebook. So Melanie is using the playbook of The Orchardist, which is by J.R. Goldberg, and I am playing a character using The Rebel by Riley Rethel. And then also our location uses the nature of the battlefield, which is by Luke Jordan. So I mentioned that because I have a link in chat right now where you can buy Wanderhome if you would like to play it for yourself, and you absolutely should. And then also there's a link in chat where you can buy the expansion stretch goals. I almost said expansion pack, but it is stretch goals for Wanderhome that includes the playbooks that we're playing and, like I said, part of the location. And then the last thing that I'll say before we get into the game proper, well, actually, I should say Mila and Melanie, thank you for the resubs. Even though you're on screen and I said
one.
that earlier. Also comic
That's
comic
like seven
Sam's.
babies together.
Seven babies. That's 7 babies.
That's a lot of babies.
That's too many babies.
That's too many
Comic
babies.
Sans, thank you for being in chat. During the game, I can't always say hello to people, but at least at the start of stream I like to if I can. If you are watching right now, there are some things that you can do to help the stream and help us as players. The first thing you can do is if there's a part of the stream that you think is particularly cute or poignant or funny or good and you're like, this should be on TikTok, you can use in chat the command an exclamation point followed by the word marker, which I just did in chat to show you how it works. And that'll make a stream marker for me to come back to later so I can edit a clip of that moment, which is super helpful to me because I don't like to edit. Another thing that you can do is we do have some tip incentives. So if you feel so led to tip, all of those tips would go to my 3 guest players. For 200 bits, which is Twitch's currency, you can give 1 player a bonus. For 500 bits, you can give all of us a bonus. Or for 1,000 bits, we will add a complication to the game. And that's going to be based on, where we are in the story. We do have one in mind that's really exciting for this particular session. So yeah, if you tip $10, that'll happen. You can also tip the equivalent at my Ko-fi, which is linked in chat right now. The last thing that you can do to help the stream, congratulations, you're already doing it. Whether you are watching right now live on Twitch or you're watching the VOD of this later on YouTube, thank you so much. We really appreciate the support and we hope that you enjoy what you are about to see. So, I have written a little thing to kind of get us started based on some of the stuff that we picked. So it's just a little paragraph, but I was, it's cute. So it's a cold day on our journey. The kind of day where everything seems to be holding its breath, waiting for the sky to decide whether it will rain or snow. Even the road we travel can't seem to decide whether it's a place or simply a place between places. A long time ago, it was probably a place, and not so long ago, it was certainly a place. But now it seems that everyone would rather forget it, even the Haith itself. My character, Maisie Hawthorn, the rebel, has pulled ahead of everyone else. I'm a chestnut and white Jack Russell Terrier, the kind that has a white muzzle and brown around both of my eyes, which are intense. My ears are very expressive, but when I'm relaxed, they're kind of floppy, which I'm a little bit sensitive about because I think it makes me look younger than I am. I am only 20, but I want to be taken seriously. It looks like I've been kind of caught off guard by the change in weather. So I'm wearing like a sweater that's like not quite warm enough, a scarf that I've borrowed from someone, and woolen pants that seem a little bit too short for me, as though I've like grown a little bit since the last time I wore them. I am chatting eagerly with the people that I'm around, because I'm excited to see the location that we're getting to and passing by and passing through where an important battle took place. And so I'm kind of excitedly like talking to people about things I know about the battle and stories I've heard and things that I've witnessed about what took place here. But that's my character, and I'm going to throw it over to Melanie to introduce your character.
Okay. So, hi. My name's Guiseppe Crabapples. I am a wide toad. I'm a wide toad. What are the things to describe myself with? I am driving a beetle-drawn cart with a bunch of jugs of apple cider in the back. My beetle, Antonio, is always with me, taking me where I need to go. I have a cooking pot for a hat, and trying to picture, does he have a shirt on? I'm not sure.
It's cold. It's cold, Giuseppe.
It is cold. He's probably in a nice kind of fleece or something. His pants look dirty, but also inside the pants is full of dirt as well. Just kind of plodding along as we travel down this road. My pronouns are he, him. I am, let's see, 42 years old. How about that? Who knows? I'm traveling a lot. I don't really celebrate my birthday.
Oh.
I mean, every day's your birthday, so if you look at life in a certain kind of way, you know? Let's not look at that too closely. I'm not sad about it. I'm doing fine. Anyways, anyone want some cider? It's not gonna drink itself, and I can't because my tummy gets too upset.
So now this is making me, because the way that you said that, who is Giuseppe saying this to? Like, it sounds like you're
the
just
audience.
Okay.
One of us gets to break the fourth wall, and I think Giuseppe makes the most sense.
Giuseppe has. Giuseppe is kind of a oh shoot, now I can't remember the character. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
What do people have to tip in order to get me to send them cider? You know?
Oh, probably a
Through the
lot.
internet?
Yeah.
Uh,
I guess that's
Enough
up to
to cover
you.
postage, probably.
I hesitate to say the number. I think, Melanie, you should decide.
I don't know.
I'll decide for Melanie. $2.
Wow.
Sounds like an amount.
All right, $2.
Yeah, Melanie gets a bonus, and you get a cider. $2.
You get a cider. You get a cider.
I got a toe with a bad tummy.
Is it hand delivered or is it sent through the mail?
It's sent through the internet, actually.
It blasts
It's
out of
virtual
your
cider.
computer screen.
Okay, $2 sounds like less of a deal now.
It's internet. It's cyberweb cider. So I don't know what more
It's
you want.
Cider web, yeah.
Cider web. Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Is it?
It
I
also
don't
kind of sounds like
think it's
spider web.
anything.
There's two different things it can do.
Melanie, is that everything Giuseppe has to say for himself?
I have no idea what else you want me to say.
Well, the next
What
thing
else
I want
is
you to
there to
say
say?
is, who do you want to introduce their character next?
Miwa, I would like you to introduce your
Miwa.
character.
Giuseppe, that is not how birthdays work. You understand that, right?
I'm not quite sure what you're talking
The
about.
sun rotates.
I meant more
Please,
an
I
attitude.
cannot fail
guess.
so much as a teacher.
Every day's a gift, so it's a birthday present for
You
me.
can get gifts on not birthdays.
I suppose that's
Giuseppe.
true. I just meant I have a general positive outlook in life.
This sure is true, Giuseppe. Enki is a raven who is very layered, but this isn't really because of the cold. They're just always very layered. They have big glasses on their little raven, and they have the most prominent thing that they wear is an old scarf that has a few spots where it's been mended, but generally you can tell that it's been like very cared for. They also carry with them a lot of books, and they feel bad for the beetle, but they need it to do their teaching. And if they don't have it, how are they going to teach? They are very concerned about some things that Giuseppe says. We'll check that Giuseppe does actually understand that some things are accurate and real, and some things are not. I also, in all of my robes, you would, if you went through my stuff, you'd see that there was a lot of little drawings done by little hands or talons or various other features that creatures could use to hold a pencil, maybe. While concerned, they want what's best for Giuseppe, and they just think it's intelligence. And this goes for truly everyone. So they carry on, but they are giving Giuseppe like, okay. I don't know who to pass the thing to. Oh, Zay, of course,
Oh.
yes.
Well, Enki, you get to an age where you stop caring about birthdays so much. Start to matter a little bit less. Though I'd hoped you hadn't quite gotten that far along, Giuseppe. This is Rosemary Rumbkin, a very old field mouse, brown, but with a touch of gray at the end of the snout, near the whiskers, a little bit on the ends of the ears, and just a little bit of gray starting to creep into the tail. Rosemary's, I assume we're all like relative size to each other, like relatively the same size. Even so, Rosemary is small as a mouse, but is large in presence, very stout, very solidly built mouse. Rosemary is currently dressed. Rosemary usually wears a lot of clothes, a lot of flowing clothes, cloaks and drapey shirts and pants. Right now, there's a torn standard that few would recognize anymore, wrapped around Rosemary's chest. I think Rosemary also has a pair of gloves that they found. They have on some warmer clothes. Rosemary's pronouns change from day to day. Today, they're he, him, which I think those of you who know him know only by the way he carries himself today. There's subtle changes in the way he moves and carries himself, or the way she dresses, and you've learned to, over our time together, to pick them up. Rosemary's also walking right now, leaning very heavily on his walking stick. There's a little bit of a chill, I think, starting to seep into the air already. And, well, Rosemary's old enough to start feeling that in his bones.
If you don't mind me asking, Rosemary, when was your last birthday?
My last birthday, or last one celebrated?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess my question is, how old are you, if you know? And yeah, when was the last one you celebrated? And how did you celebrate?
Well, to the first question, I'll say you reach an age where it's impolite to ask, too. And I'm well past that. As to the others, you spent some time. And the last one, it was quiet.
Sometimes it's good to have time to yourself. That can be a present, too.
It can be.
Where is everyone in this kind of lineup? I'm curious. So we're traveling down this road. Do we want to kind of describe specifics about what we see around us currently? And who we're traveling with, if we're traveling with anybody?
Yeah, I think we should do that. So there's some other scene setting that I think we can do. One of the things, which I normally you would do at the start of the session, I wanted to wait until everyone's character was introduced so people had some context. I almost said concept. So people have some concept for this. Is whenever we start, it's either per session or starting a location, Wanderhome has some questions that we answer for ourselves, and one that we answer silently, and just think about for a moment. So the first question that we can answer, as others join us on our journey, and as we begin this particular part of it, the first question is, what sort of place did we just travel from? So we haven't over the table as players together. We've determined the place that we're in right now, but we haven't really talked at all about the most recent place we just came from, which can really be whatever people want it to be. And while you all are doing that, I will really quickly try to see. I forgot to put the chat box on the overlay. So I will really quickly do that. I think I can do it. So other people feel free to chime in.
Does anyone have any idea?
I was thinking maybe someplace kind of happy-ish.
Happy?
Mm-hmm.
Like the happiest place on earth? Is something swaying your thinking, Mila?
Don't dox Mila.
There's a train room behind me.
We're gonna have to edit this out.
Is it doxing to say in a huge? Okay. I apologize, Mila. Cut this. Cut the stream.
I'll be honest. I don't feel very doxed here.
Good. I'm glad, but I think Mel We should
You know, if
refrain
you
from getting
somehow
any
know
more
who I am and
specific.
come say hi to me, do it.
Don't say that.
Say hi and only say hi.
You say hi, you make direct eye contact, you
And
say
leave.
hi, and then you walk away.
I will say
Firm
this
handshake.
is
You're
a
right.
good excuse for me to say this on stream. Mila's like in the middle of traveling right now, so we don't have captions for this stream because it didn't work for them, and so it was like it didn't make any sense to have all the rest of us have captions and they not. So that's also, you know, one of the things. And also, I messaged Mila this. They are lagging a little bit occasionally, which will only be an issue for this particular stream. In the future, they'll be at home, so it'll be fine.
I will be. So I'm the reason why I blame me for the accessibility issues.
That's not what I meant to do, but it is the message I think.
No, that's what I'm
used.
saying. I don't feel like you said that. I'm saying I.
Yeah.
Mila's our
Blame
problematic
me.
fave.
But did you wanted it to be someplace kind of happy that we were just coming from?
Yes.
I think that makes sense. I believe we would have just been coming out of Firetop as the season. I might be wrong about that. Wanderhome heads, feel free to correct me.
Oh, you've got it.
Could we have been coming from a place sort of like, is it Pottsfield?
Ooh.
Oh.
That was doing some sort of like, you know, like they're not dead, but there was like some sort of like pumpkin-y festival thing.
I like that, coming out of some
Mhm.
festival.
There was a maypole-esque thing in the middle of town, you know.
Was it a giant pumpkin man?
It can be if we say it is. J Dragon, come at me. I'm gonna put
Stop.
Enoch in here.
Stop challenging J Dragon.
This is my first time on stream.
Stop.
Not in general, just your first time on stream.
Melanie being such a menace.
Hey Taylor, you know who you invited to be on this.
That's true. That's
stream.
true. Okay.
You invited the three of us. What did you expect?
I think I got the chat box on screen. Yes. Okay. Cool.
It looks like it is there.
I fixed the issue. Thank you, Dreamy. Also, the overlay that we're using for the stream, Dreamy made for us. So
It looks so good,
and it's so
Dreamy.
cute. Yes.
It is
It's so good.
beautiful.
Okay, so the sort of place we just traveled from is kind of like there was a festival going on there, which makes sense because we just had Firetop, which actually is there a festival associated with Firetop? No, there's not.
I thought there was.
I don't think so. The only
No,
thing with
it's
Firetop is a dry silt, which is not a festival. It's like a phenomenon. So yeah, maybe some kind of harvest festival or something like that. That was something local to where we just came from. It's not something that's celebrated maybe around the entire Haith. I like that. We can feel free to flesh that out more as we go. But the next question that I have is, do we feel our journey has been long? And this can be different for each person.
I do like the idea that our caravan has been on the road for a little bit now.
Yeah.
Like since we've traveled from there. Maybe not excessively long, but I like the idea that maybe we've been on the road for a bit.
Yeah. I like the idea that we've been on the road for a bit. I think Maisie specifically doesn't feel as though the journey has been long. I think she feels like very excited to go from place to place and talk to people. So I think even though we've been traveling together for a little while, I think she isn't feeling that kind of like fatigue of the journey. I think she's still very like every place we leave, she's like, "Oh, I can't believe we're leaving already." Every place we go, like, you know, every in between, she's like, "Oh, the trip was so quick." So I don't think she feels like it has been, even if it has been. What about Giuseppe and Enki?
You want to go, Mila?
Yeah, I feel like think he does feel like it's been a long time. I think they've been traveling for a while at the very least. Um, and I think they're enjoying like teaching, but I it's been they yeah, I think it's been a while for them.
Yeah. What about Giuseppe?
I think Giuseppe only knows travel. Like, has been traveling so long, there's never been a time that he really hasn't been. So, like, this short amount of time, like going to this little place, and it's just part of it. It's just life. All of it's travel. It's neither long or short. It is.
Just is. Yeah. I like that. The next question that I have is there somewhere we hope to go? This is another thing we haven't really talked about for our characters. If there's a place that the caravan is specifically heading to, if there's a place that we individually are hoping to go to. Yeah. What do we think?
There is a place that Giuseppe wants to go to at some point, but it's kind of like a rumor that it exists. It's kind of like, I don't know, sort of a mix between Atlantis and El Dorado of like, but for people who plant like trees.
So, for Giuseppe.
For Giuseppe, yeah.
Specifically.
Because one of the things when in character creation, there's two places you've planted a seed, and one place that of rumor that you wish to go to, and I think that's the place that he's like hoping to get to someday. Not knowing where to go to get to there, but it's a glen belonging to no one, but it's tilled and tended by many. So like wanting not only to see all of that, to see all of the trees, but to meet like-minded people whose sole purpose is to tend to the earth and like see the cool seeds that they brought and that kind of thing. So like it's kind of like he's unsure if it is a reality, but it is sort of a mecca of what he would like to go to.
Yeah. I think Maisie doesn't necessarily have a specific place that she is like going to, but is wanting to see places where she feels great deeds happened. Great deeds in like the name of the rebellion. And she wants to, some of them she's been to before and she wants to see again now that she's older. Some of them are places she's heard of but wants to like actually go to and speak to the people who were a part of it and speak to people who witnessed it. And tell stories from like other parts of like other locations where these like great battles and deeds in her conception of them have happened, which is I think why I don't think where we are now is a destination for anyone else, but Maisie is excited to be here, so this is like one of the places that she hoped to go.
Rosemary, I don't think has any specific place in mind. His goal right now is with the caravan. I think he sees that as kind of his duty to protect and watch over the people in the caravan, especially the younger folk in the caravan. And so he doesn't have really any care as to where they're headed.
Yeah. I think Enki's in where they're just interested in, like, they're not really going anywhere specific, but they're also, every town is where they're trying to go. Very much of like going to all these small towns and interacting and like, trying to teach kids and everything, but there's nowhere in particular they want to go other than kind of where they are.
And then the last question is one that we answer silently in our own heads, and we'll think about for a moment, is where is my home? And as we're thinking about that, um, as we've mentioned, we are traveling with this caravan on the road with us that's full of all sorts of other kith. Um, And so one thing that I thought would be fun is people who are watching this right now, or even if you're watching the VOD later and you want to do this, feel free at any point to chime in and chat with what type of animal that you think that you would be if you were here, or a creature that you think would be here, even if it's not like your own self-insert. And you can also feel free in chat to like say little things that they might be doing as we are traveling together. We might not have a chance to like, directly address them, but they will be visible on stream, and they'll be visible in the VOD afterwards. So even if, we don't like mention what you've said, if we're in the middle of something, there will be a record of it. So we're traveling, and we've kind of already mentioned that the place that we're at is this was once this battlefield, and that's kind of what Maisie was talking about, is this great battle that took place. There is one other thing that we can do to set the scene, that is more not necessarily about this particular location, but it is about the season that we're in. So the season that we're in right now, Wanderhome has its own cycle of the year, which is similar to like, a cycle of the year in our world, depending on where you live. But has more seasons and more of like a granular breakdown of some of these, especially like transitional seasons. So the month that we're in game, and I would say in real life as well, if you live in the Midwest, is the month of grasping. Grasping is a cold and difficult month when the leaves have fallen from the trees and the silt air becomes uncomfortably cold. This season and this place have leafless trees, a fog bank that's rolling in, and an alien and unfamiliar sky. We also together get to pick 4 signs of the month that we see here, from a list of, different things. Do any of you have an idea of what sign of the month you would like to pick?
Yes, I can go first, because I know which one I want to add. And that is the faraway screech of distant scorpion packs.
I love that one.
So I think as we're getting closer, we start hearing. I honestly don't know. I'm not going to imitate a scorpion screech on stream. I will not subject myself nor any of you to that. So just imagine it, listeners. But yeah, we hear, I think it's just like a horrible, skittery scream in the distance. And Rosemary sort of like looks around to make sure everyone is in the pack, in the caravan. Stay close, everyone.
How big are these scorpions? Is this like, are these like scorpions in our world? Are these like wolves in our world? Like, what is the size of these things?
I imagine this as equivalent to coyotes in our world. So they're going to keep their distance probably, and they're not that dangerous to us in groups, but you don't want to come across them.
Yeah. I love that.
Don't want to let your baby play with one, for sure.
Yeah, probably not.
Unlike in this world where you should let your babies play with scorpions.
Yeah, in our world, give your baby a scorpion.
Yeah, yeah. Babies in our world can play with scorpions.
The children, the babies yearn for the scorpions.
Babies are born with the things they need to survive best. And human babies can scream right away, and they know how to handle scorpions.
Look, I work with kids. What I do is I usually get a bucket full of scorpions, I throw it in the room, lock the doors, and I come back a half an hour later.
They putting their job at risk.
Everyone's calmed down,
Straight.
them and the scorpions.
All right, what are some other signs of the month that we see here?
Well, I hadn't looked at these before, so I'm really glad I hadn't, because the scorpion bit is very good. As tempting as kids anxiously watching the shadows, probably for scorpions.
Probably for the scorpions.
Well, if it was
wanna do
scorpions, it
bowls
would
of
be
soup.
eagerly. Sorry, I stepped up, Melanie.
Yeah, eagerly. I want to do bowls of soup.
Bowls of soup, love it. Yeah, what kind of soups?
Probably like gourd kind of soups.
Does Giuseppe make us an apple soup?
Oh yeah, Giuseppe makes an apple soup, a hearty apple soup. It's thicker than you would think it would be,
I don't like that.
but it tastes good.
I
Just
do
a
like
surprising
that.
texture.
A little laugh.
Challenging.
Just a surprising texture.
Oh, I didn't laugh,
were.
so that was.
Oh, okay. That was a scorpion. Mila is away.
What's up?
Having
Go ahead.
issues.
Oh no.
Hello. I like the Festival for the Dead.
That's very cool.
That is my choice for the weather this season.
I like that. Ooh, okay. What do I get to pick? I think I'm going to go with a creeping sense of unease.
Good.
I
good.
think. There are definitely some other things on here that I like, but I think that's the one I'm gonna go with. So let me erase the ones that we're not doing. No one picked the kids, right? We just mentioned that as an option.
I mean, we could pick it.
We can't. It's 3 to 4, and we picked 4. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Will sue us.
Jade Dragon.
Jade Dragon will sue us. Okay, 1, 2,
If we choose
3,
5.
4. Okay. So yeah, those are some things that are present. Mila, the Somber Festival paying respects to the dead. Is that something that the people in this location is like happening right now, or is that something that like our caravan has been doing this time of the year, or a secret third option that I don't know of?
I think it. I want to say secret third option, but I also don't know what that would be. So I'm gonna say that it's in the location that we're going to.
We're going to.
Cool.
It would be kind of cool. Actually, hold on. I want to pitch something.
Yeah.
We are in a battlefield. We are in a battlefield where many people have died.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want it to be like kind of, sort of Day of the Dead, people going to like where their loved ones fell, like leaving stuff? And that's what we're passing, and we're seeing that kind of stuff.
What if I do like that idea? I kind of also, though, like the idea that there aren't too many people other than our caravan here. So what if we are, as we're like kind of, so I'm imagining that the road that we're on is like kind of to the side of, but sometimes through what this battlefield is. So we're kind of like going like in and out of like this huge area. And I kind of like the idea that maybe we're occasionally seeing little kinds of like gifts and memorials and things like that people have left here, but we're not seeing the people who left them necessarily. We're like seeing that people have been here, and that it is more of a solitary thing, that it's not like, because of the nature of it being a battlefield, a lot of the people who are being memorialized here are not, their family isn't from anywhere nearby, so it's like something that people are coming and like leaving things and then going back from. It's not necessarily like a community kind of thing. How do we feel about that?
Like when when you're driving on the highway or somewhere and like someone died, like right off the road, and there's like a moldy teddy bear that's been there for like years, it's just in the weather, like something like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, this is now the time where I'll stop being so GM-ly, because I just had some things like structure wise that we needed to do. So we've all kind of established, I think Maisie is like a little bit ahead of everyone else. The rest of the other three of you were kind of like talking to each other. What do we want to happen next?
I think if we're like in the back, the three of us talking while Maisie's ahead, I think Giuseppe kind of notices how excited Maisie is and is like, oh, she seems really excited about this, about where we're currently at, huh? I wonder what that's about. Maisie, do you know this area?
Oh, yes. I mean, this was one of the first battlefields of well, it started as the enemy forces were here, and the rebellion basically was kind of existed here. But I mean, we all know about the lies that were told that began the war, and this region was a lot of where those things started.
I don't think I've heard what those lies were.
Tell us.
Well, I think the biggest lie is that the people here were were starving when they weren't. And so the military sent their forces because they said, it needs to be like, this place needs to be reinforced, and we need, but there was a community here that was taking care of itself, and it didn't need to be, and the lie was that there were resources here that were being taken by the military, and that's what the rebellion was able to say. There is enough here for everyone, as long as there isn't someone who's coming in and taking it all.
That's pretty heinous.
I think Maisie looks at Rosemary, and one of the things that the battlefield can always do is ask someone, did any of your kin fight here? Give them a token if they say yes, then ask if those people survived to return home. So I think Maisie specifically turns to Rosemary and says, did any of your kin fight here?
Aye. A brother. He didn't make it back. This was before I thought. Before I was old enough to. But he was an older brother. And well, he's still somewhere here.
Is that what made you want to get into that line of work?
If you can call it that. I suppose in those days everybody was fighting. It wasn't much of a choice. Back then, it seemed like there wasn't anything but the war. All you had to do was pick a side.
Have you ever visited here before?
Once or twice, but it's been a while. And Rosemary is going to do something that he can always do which is drum against the pommel of his blade, which I think was before covered up by the standard and all these heavy cloaks and things. But the pommel of it is just poking out. He's just sort of absentmindedly drumming on it as he talks and looks around.
Well, you are fumble for my supplies and write down what we're all discussing. I think Enki has like a knowledge of it from like a very academic point, but getting these more like personal stories is very important to them. So as you two are talking, they're writing down what you're saying.
Maeve?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think as we kind of discussed, I don't think Rosemary's talked much about the war to Enki. So details like this are pretty sparse.
Maisie, I think, seeing that Enki is writing things down, like, turns to Enki very excitedly and starts then kind of going through, like, and says, like, yeah, so the first fight was here, if you can even call it a fight. It was the people were just tired of having their, this used to be an orchard, tired of having their fruits of their labors taken from them, and a fight broke out, and the military just kind of buckled down, and that's why this place is known as Fort Brightfield, because it used to be this place where there was an orchard and there was food and all these different things, and now after it became such a hub for the endless battles between the rebellion and the military, it just turned into this, and kind of gestures out towards what is now doesn't resemble a field at all. It's like marshy, kind of almost swamplands.
I think when you mentioned that it was an orchard, Giuseppe kind of like slows the cart to a halt and hoists his big body out. And when he stands, his legs are so thin, so thin compared to the rest of them, and kind of hops on over to a tree to get a better look and is like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, I hadn't even taken a closer look at these trees, but these I look like sundowner apples. They look so bad. I've never seen them look like this.
What do they look like?
They're like, you know what a pink lady is? They're like a pink lady, but like they're pink lady's ugly brother.
I meant what do the trees look like now? But I also am glad you answered a different question.
I mean, you see here like the bark of this tree is like way thicker and like rigid, and it shouldn't be ridged like this. It should be smoother. And they're kind of, I'm picturing like the branches are totally bare and like curled in on themselves in such like a almost unnatural way. Well, I mean, war as hell is fucked up this landscape pretty badly. Oh, excuse my language. Don't. Giuseppe's supposed to be avuncular, so I really wanted to be like, don't tell your mother. It's just between us. You can say those kinds of words around me.
Oh, he's the cool one.
Yeah. Your cool apple uncle.
Your cool ass apple.
Sierra says pink lady, blue lads.
Yeah. Blue lads. What did you call them, Melanie? You called them sundowner?
Yeah, sundowners.
Yeah.
You'll like this. I did pull up the Apple Rankings website to find real apple names.
Good.
I knew it.
Is that a real apple? A sundowner apple?
It is a real apple, and it is the pink lady's ugly brother.
I thought you just made that up and were inspired by Apple Rankings.
I'm not original at all. My brain is soup. So.
There's lots of soup to go around this time of year.
I think I'm gonna do a thing that I can always do, which is comment on the changing of the weather and the season. And just kind of like hand on the tree, kind of looking out into this landscape and looking around at this kind of sparse memorials we see around. Just be like, it really is a time of transition, right? Around this time of year, things get colder and quieter, except for the scorpions.
There's a sound that's like a howl, but it's yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, you said you have visited here before, right, Rosemary? So I mean, it's that time of year when we're supposed to kind of remember our dead loved ones. Would you you have any interest in maybe paying a visit while we're coming through here? And I'm gonna do a thing that the road can always do.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, it left here. Let me pull up the tab. The thing the road can always do is push someone forward and give them a token.
Rosemary getting so many tokens.
I don't have any tokens.
Which would be great if I was a player who used tokens.
I'm trying so hard to remember what I can get tokens for and what I can do with those tokens.
I am one of those players with belonging outside belonging type games where I'm like, the tokens are just a suggestion.
Well, I'm gonna give you 2 suggestions because you have 2 tokens.
Yeah. You suggest this, and Rosemary kind of straightens up. His nose twitches a little bit, whiskers twitching in the wind. He'd be good while we're here. Well, I don't think many of the graves are marked, but it's worth taking the time if you all don't mind stopping a bit.
Happy to. I go over and just like pat Antonio on the broad side of him. Okay, you hold down the fort, Antonio. Don't let anyone take a. Well, actually, if anyone wants a sip of cider, you just let them go right ahead. But you better be here when we get back.
And Antonio, keep an eye out for scorpions.
Kind of like does like a little hoof stomp, like a little beetle stomp on the ground. Like, just let them try.
Oh,
Rosemary looks at him. See, that's why I can trust you.
It is quite cold before we go walking around. Actually, and I go to the back of my cart, and there's like 3 large, like I'm picturing like kind of barrels with spouts hanging off the back end, so that anyone can help themselves to it, along with whatever else is in the back. So this one's cold, but actually this one over here, there's a little device I have in there that keeps it warm. And he starts to pour out like little mugs of hot cider to everybody to hold and keep their hands warm as we go trekking along. Maybe it's impractical. We are going to be walking a little bit, but
Maisie is definitely doing that thing that little dogs do when they're too cold. It's just like shivering, but like kind of ignoring it. Her teeth are chattering, and her ears, I think, are like close, like folded in kind of close to her head to try to keep her head warm a little bit. So very eagerly takes this mug of hot cider and is like sipping on it. Yeah, is very excited about this.
I think Rosemary notices Maisie sort of shivering like this, and comes over, and I'll go ahead and spend one of those tokens, and I think this is provide a solution for aspect of a material or immediate problem. There's like a few different this could be. But Rosemary comes over and just pulls off one of the big, it's not even like cloaks, they're like strips of fabric kind of wrapped around, one around the arms like a shawl and another one across the chest. But he reaches like on his back and pulls off this like very worn piece of fabric. And I think as he does so, there's a small glint of metal underneath these cloaks and the standard on his shoulder. But he sort of shakes this cloak and wraps it a little bit around Maisie.
Yeah, Maisie very like not, I think not reluctantly at all, like is very eager to like accept this help, and like takes it and is like, oh, thank you so much, Rosemary. It's just the next time we get someplace, I'm gonna need to buy warmer clothes. All of my other ones like I haven't worn in a while and they're just a little bit too small.
We'll find you something warmer. Wouldn't do good for you to catch a cold out here.
Yeah, she like kind of
She's just a
snuggles
little
in.
puppy growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
so big.
Yeah, she's definitely like has, even though she's like 20, she's like grown I think a lot since like the last time she was in a cold place, like maybe just she's been someplace that's relatively warm throughout the year. And yes, kind of like snuggles into the cloak and I think kind of leans into Rosemary a little bit. Like also like kind of just out of a need for warmth, but also in like gratitude, just kind of like leans in a little bit to Rosemary.
Rosemary's very stiff, I think. He's just kind of leaning on his walking stick now. And he doesn't, like, you lean against him and he's just kind of like straightens a little bit, but his tail curls up behind you to kind of pull in the cloaks a little bit tighter.
That's really cute. I just realized because I was looking at some things that I can do. And I think I would like to leave an offering to a small and forgotten god, which made me realize that we didn't establish what the small and forgotten gods of this location are. I think in the rules, you ask whoever has been the most quiet so far to determine who the small and forgotten gods are, which Mila, I think is you.
I agree. Oh. Okay. I think it's a the psychopath. Is that where they lead between like
Yeah.
we're kind of like a Hermes type who kind of like helps ferry, or I think it would be like more of like a carriage maybe, and like kind of like shepherds them from one place to another, especially with the all the death that had happened there. I also wanted to leave an offering.
I was literally thinking about leaving an offering
so I
too.
think I would,
We're all
Taylor's
doing it.
yeah. I was just looking up. I was quiet because I wasn't sure what how the gods like kind of came about here. And I'm like, is there like a list? So I'm looking at that, and that's part of why I was so quiet.
I like that. I don't think there are in the rulebook some like specific small and forgotten gods or small gods named, but you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can say whatever the hell you want.
It up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a name, but I definitely think like I think it would be more cozy than like it'd be like a warm carriage like taking you, as opposed to like a cold like boat or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking of a pumpkin carriage.
Yep.
I don't.
Absolutely.
I'm also
100%.
thinking I didn't say it, but because I was like, this is But yeah, I'm also thinking of a pumpkin carriage, so I think it just has to be a pumpkin.
It's got to be a pumpkin
I
carriage.
love that so much. Yeah, I like that because it's like a little bit spooky, but a little bit nice. Like the
Yeah.
idea of like sometimes like at night, people will see this kind of like glowing pumpkin carriage that's ferrying souls.
Ugh,
I
I love
really
that.
like that a lot. That's very
Yeah.
cool. Um, yeah, go ahead, Mila.
Oh, I was also just like in with like the starving and everything. I also really like the pumpkin as like, a feeding gourd and just this like warmth like carrying them after like that particular kind of situation is very like cold and like blues and like freezing. Um, Even if it's not necessarily true. So I really like the idea of like, yeah, a pumpkin.
Yeah. Um, yeah, maybe they're like because pumpkins are a pretty like they'll grow like any kind of gourd will just like kind of spring up and
Yeah.
grow like volunteers. So maybe there are in this battlefield there's not a lot that grows here, but every once in a while you might find a pumpkin plant, and even more rarely
Mm.
you may find like an actual pumpkin or like small gourd that's like growing in this field. um so maybe the reason why we all have this impulse to leave an offering to a small and forgotten god as we're walking is one of us spots like maybe like a little like tiny pumpkin that's like maybe gonna grow bigger if it's nourished a little bit.
Mm.
What are people leaving as an offering?
I was kind of planning on waiting until we got to the grave
Oh,
site.
yeah.
I think I'm gonna leave with the little pumpkin a little offering of food.
Yeah.
Oh, can I on top of the offering of food that and you can say no to this. Like Enki can totally stop do this. But I think he wants to reach into his pocket and just like grab a handful of like that good dirt, that's good kind of
Mm,
posting soil, and places it on top of the food.
That
yes,
Kind of
good
pats
dirt.
it down.
excellent. Yeah,
Yeah, Maisie, I
I
think. Oh,
nod
go
at
ahead.
you, Giuseppe.
It'll
Give
help
you a
it
little nod
decompose.
as a thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Um, I think Maisie like pours a little bit of warm cider like to water it, but also maybe some extra nutrients as an offering. And I'll take a token because I want to win this game.
So, what document? I was going to be
Oh, does
like,
that mean
Beth,
that
you
we
get a
all get a
token, but
token?
it says.
Yeah, anyone, I believe one of the things to get a token is leave an offering to a small and forgotten god. So you get a token when you do that. So anyone who does that gets a token.
And this is is this the only
The
small and forgotten god that we think is in this area?
What do you think?
Mm. I want to see what other people were thinking.
I feel like a battle site, and especially in Old Moor, having like a couple different ones around.
Yeah. Do you have an idea of what a different one is, or you just think there should be more than one?
Well, this used to be like an orchard, so I think I was kind of thinking that there'd be some sort of small and forgotten god of like trees in some sort of way,
Mm-hmm.
that maybe is like not doing so well in this
Ooh,
area.
yeah.
What if it's just like, yeah, tiny fruit trees struggling?
Yeah.
Little fruit saplings.
Yeah.
I like that.
I want to leave. Okay. I'm going to go into a burlap sack that I have, like a little kind of hand, like burlap sack, and then open that up. And then there's other burlap sacks in there, like they're kind of sorted out different things. And you see him kind of rustle around. And then he finds one that he opens up. And from it, he pulls out one seed from it. And just kind of holds it up. It's kind of like an almond kind of brown, and is like, so here's a healthy sundowner actually, and he kind of goes over towards maybe one of the more gnarled trees that are close to us, and gets down on his knees to the base of it and is like, it kind of whispers where I don't know if anyone will be able to hear him, but if you listen to it, you probably could. And he's like, okay, so as he puts that a little bit into the soil and pats it. So here's a good sundowner. Maybe take it around to these other ones and show them how they ought to do. And I don't know if this will help, but there's at least it's something. Yeah. Gets back up. Comes back.
Well, all of you have been leaving your little offerings. Rosemary's just been watching, and he pulled out a little piece of wood, an old knife, and is very badly trying to whittle something that it's probably an insect. You're pretty sure it's an insect. You can't
What
quite
kind
be.
of insect?
I don't think you can tell. And that's not a failing on Giuseppe's part.
Oh.
But it's got a lot of legs.
Oh.
So a beetle? A wasp? Could be either.
One of the things that Maisie can always do is ignore or scorn a societal norm. And so I think Maisie is going to ignore the norm of, like, if someone is doing something not that well, like asking them more about it or whatever, basically. Or like pretending to like know what it would be that Rosemary is carving. So I think kind of like, pours the little bit of cider and then goes back over to Rosemary. Again, like kind of getting like a little bit close, although not leaning in as much. And just sees what you're carving, kind of cocks her head to the side a little bit and leans in and says, what is that? What are you making?
It's an ant.
An ant?
Hmm.
Why?
Why not?
But why?
I don't suppose you'll let this one go, will you?
I really want to know why you're making an ant. And I think you must have a reason. You usually have a reason for what you do.
Well, try to find reasons. I don't always know that they're good ones. Truth be told, I always wanted to learn. My grandfather used to whittle. So I thought maybe I'd give it a try. Clearly, I'm not as practiced as I'd like to be.
But why an ant?
Why not? They're useful creatures.
But why? There must be a reason why you're carving an ant. There must be. I mean, you must have decided to carve an ant.
It's at this point that Giuseppe walks up and is like, "Oh, you're carving a millipede, huh? So many legs."
Oh, that's not the leg. It's an ant.
Oh, an ant. Oh, you can cut off the legs. It's fine. You can take more away. You can't put it back. That's the thing with woodland, huh?
That's not the leg.
What?
It's the dick of the ant.
Maisie, don't look at this.
It's not what it is. It's
What is it?
it's the end of the ant. I'm working on the end of the ant.
The end of the ant.
Look at the back end of it.
Everything has to come to an end.
I suppose that's true.
They've got lines in their shells. Just sort of, it's detail work.
Was there an ant that you loved or something? And so, or like a pet, and that's why you're carving an ant? Or you just saw one and you thought maybe I should carve it? Or
I'm gonna walk over and say, ants normally don't have that kind of genitalia.
It's not genitalia.
Roll with like.
Oh, what?
It's not finished yet. I'm still working on it.
Yes.
At this point, I think
Oh.
Rosemary is sort of like tucking it into his sleeve a little bit, like kind of gonna like hide it away for the moment. Like, it's not finished yet. It's a work in progress.
Enki, is there like a
Aren't we
psychological
all?
reason for someone to carve an ant? Like what is the meaning of an ant metaphorically?
This is all happening in front of
this
Rosemary.
was hard working. Hard work. Companionship, unity, working in harmony with others.
Something we're not doing very good.
I have no idea why Rosemary would be
It feels
carving
like
an
we're-
ant.
We're really putting you on the spot. I apologize, Rosemary. This feels like
Melanie's apologizing. It's not Giuseppe.
I'm certainly excited to see the finished product, Rosemary.
It's just at this point, I don't think anyone's going to be seeing it.
oh no. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry,
It's
Rosemary.
fine.
They just looked like it looked a little bit lewd. So
Well, maybe that's where my skill lies. We'll find out.
oh well, you know what? You can get you can make a
There's-
good living.
There's a market.
whittling that, yeah.
I suppose.
Ant strap on.
The lewd ant pants.
Hey, Mel.
Let me just do a quick Google.
Can you leave?
Melanie's computer shuts
Insect
down
nose.
from the viruses that she gets from looking that up.
Melanie's computer shuts down in rejection of the words she just said.
And then it'll take her probably 40 minutes to get it to turn back on.
100%.
Oh, terrible.
Where to
Terrible.
now? What are we doing now?
Rosemary looks around. Well, it's changed quite a bit since I was last here, but you see that slight sort of rise over there. I think just at the foot of, on the other side of that, that's where I stopped last time. It's as good a place as any.
Yeah, lead the way.
Yeah. Enki's gonna say, "Can you show me?"
Show them the way.
And also show them where you stopped. I think they're curious about why you stopped there, if like the location is I think Enki knows enough to not really expect a direct like maybe just like a part of an answer from you. So I think it's more of like I want to see exactly like what's happening here.
Hi. Come along. Rosemary sort of picks his way around some very marshy patches, some little patches of water. Do we think it's cold enough that there's a little bit of frost maybe on some of these, like just a
Yeah.
thin layer of ice across the smallest ones still.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of crackles underfoot. And Rosemary leads you like a little way and over the hill, over the like rise. Here we are. I think this is where I stopped last time. Well, it's hard to say where anyone is buried here. The whole thing is sort of a grave for them all. And I come to say hello to my brother, but the dead could always use company, no matter who they are. So here I stop. And I think Rosemary shows you around, and it just a small grassy patch with all these spots of water around at the edge of this like slight rise. A short ways away, there's a wall, like just big enough to hide behind maybe a single kith. The rest of it's crumbled away, and you can just see kind of out from here, I think, and see across like what used to be bright fields, and is now this worn site of a battlefield. In the distance on a hill, I think a couple of standards, worn down to just shreds, still fly.
I think Giuseppe kind of like bows his head a little bit, looking at the area in like reverence. But then snaps his head back up over to you, Rosemary, and is like, do you mind if we know his name?
His name was Fennel. He was my older brother by a few years.
It's a good name.
Strong name. I'd hoped one day maybe. Well, it's not going to happen now. And Rosemary like crouches down. I think you can hear the like creak in their knees as he leans down, and starts gathering a few rocks to sort of stack and make a small marker.
I think Giuseppe standing there is trying to think about what he could leave that is respectful and has any kind of reverence or meaning, and looks down at the hot cider that's in his hand, in his hands there, and just like thinks about like the years it takes for a tree to grow, to mature, to give fruit, the amount of time it takes to like actually make a cider, and like the care and time that gets put into that, and like just takes it and then pours it out in front of him.
Pours one out for the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the boy.
For the boy.
Well, there's a lot of boys
Boy
here.
and co.
Rosemary looks up at you. I think he straightens up and says, "Thank you." I appreciate you all coming out here with me. You didn't need to do that.
I mean, thanks for letting us.
Mm-hmm.
Once Early on, I think grief can be a very solitary thing, but comes a time when it's better to share it. He crouches back down one more time and pulls the carving out of his sleeve, having finished it, you assume. And he sets it down at the foot of this little marker and sort of like gives it a little pat, like kind of presses it into the dirt so it's not going to go anywhere, not be blown away by the wind. Just says, I hope you would have liked it. And then using his stick one more time, he straightens back up. Well,
if you look around, Enki's just like thing, and like it's very clear they're thinking, I should not have mentioned the genitals.
Oh, that was like a personal thing between him and his brother. Oh.
Do they? Is this thought kept inside their head, or is it?
It's captive. They're not thinking it, but when you look at their so they're thinking it, but when you look at their face, you're like, I know what they're thinking.
They're thinking about the genitals.
Thinking about those genitals.
Yeah.
Rosemary's whiskers
I thought
twitch
it was
in a sort of laughter-like way, and there's a slight lift to his snout, and it's like he would have liked it.
oh, good. That
With the
your brother
genitals, he would have found it
liked
funny.
genitals.
Perhaps I should have. You would have found it funny.
I pat you on the back and I say that's very nice that your brother would have appreciated the genitals, and then walk off into the sun to never come back.
Look, it's a normal thing. Who doesn't love a well-hung man?
Enki is like the elves in Lord of the Rings, so I imagine it like where it's just a straight walk, like off the earth into the sun.
Into the sun.
I think Enki should get.
No, they just step a little bit farther away.
I think Enki should get a token because one of the things the Moor can do is ask what weighs on your mind, gives them a token if they give a satisfying answer.
Oh my god!
I do feel as though that was weighing on your mind.
It was, yeah. All right.
Oh my
god.
That's so fucking funny. Is there anything more that people want to do here? I don't want to direct a scene away from this if there's more stuff that people want to do.
I can't think of anything I want to do.
Yeah. I was gonna ask in character, like,
what next?
Yeah, I think Giuseppe kind of dusts the dirt off his hands onto his pants and gets more dirt onto them, and kind of looks over at Rosemary, sees that seems like he's good, and I'm gonna do a thing that I can always do, which is say, all right, let's keep moving. Let's get back on the road.
Yeah. I think this is first of all around the time that we should probably take our break, but also there is a kith here that we haven't mentioned or
we
encountered.
Decided to have them. I didn't realize.
We don't have to have them come up. If we don't want to, we don't have to. But I do think that maybe this could be the next person we encounter, maybe heading back to the rest of the caravan. But if depends on what how other people are feeling.
The only reason I hadn't brought up this kith was because it felt like I like Rosemary should be doing some interacting
Yeah,
with them,
yeah.
and that felt weird to be like, hey, let me take over the scene and play 2 characters while you all watch.
I would honestly, I would love it. I would love to see that.
I would, yeah.
I
That's one of my favorite things
I-
about tabletop games is one person talking to themselves as 2 different people.
I'll make
Amazing.
I live for it, honestly.
I'll really quickly make an overlay that's just Zay that we can transition to.
Yeah.
Then I have to add in another character, and the scene builds.
Every time there's just another window. I like the idea of them coming back, but also I've been rewatching Adventure Time, and I'm just imagining this character being like the little
Yes.
he's in like the first episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That can be.
What is his name?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't remember.
Was that the fox? Is that what you're talking about? Or am I thinking of the wrong character?
No. Let me just Adventure Time.
It's Starchy.
Starchy. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I was thinking of the
Starchy.
fox. Yep, I know who you're talking about, Starchy. Yeah, somebody put an image of Starchy in our our Canva board. Okay, so I did put in the board because the Kith has a trait, which is passionate.
Mm-hmm.
So I did start a little note that has the Gravedigger. I don't have name or pronouns for them yet. But a passionate Kith is full of intense and explosive emotions. They are often mail carriers, writers, and I do not know what this other word is. Flouners? I don't know what that is. Among others. So we don't have to like figure out 1 to 2. We can always do. And actually, I was going to say that maybe we could go to break and have some time to like think more about this Kith, so that when we come back, we'll. Oh, thank you, Mila put an image of Starchy. Perfect. But regardless, as we are walking back from the scene, with Rosemary and building a little grave site for his brother. As we're walking back, I think we just hear, and the fact that I'm saying this doesn't mean that I'm going to be playing this character. Anyone can feel free to play this character. But I think we just hear someone call out, hello, travelers! And that's where we take our break, because we don't know what kind of animal this Gravedigger is. We don't know anything about them.
Can we vote on who we want to be the Gravedigger? Because I know who I want it to be.
Oh, us, or do you mean like chat?
Because chat can weigh in too.
I can do a poll if we want to.
It should be Mila. I really want to see that.
Oh,
I want to see the Mila Gravedigger.
I do like that. The fact when you said me,
I feel like I could.
When you said Mila, you put your finger on your nose, and I thought you were just gonna say, I think it should be me.
Should be little old me being a little Gravedigger.
Well, we'll figure that out in the coming moments, but we are going to take our break. While we are on break, you can see some more information about all of us, actually, the players today. And then this is also a good time to take a bio break, get a drink, get a snack, whatever it is you need to do. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. So we will see you then. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
See you soon.
Hello and welcome to the second half of the first episode of Shall We, our Wander Home limited series. And we are here playing a bunch of animals wearing clothes who just had a very tender moment. And then coming out of that, are about to run into someone. I don't know why. I'm like assuming this is going to be funny, but it might not be. I don't know. I don't know why in my head it's like, this is going to be funny. It could be, yeah, we don't know what it's going to be. So I had mentioned when we left off that we hear someone call out like, hello, travelers. And then we kind of bullied Mila into playing this character. So Mila, I'll give you first dibs on who do we see? What does this character look like?
You see, oh, I don't know what animal, but you see a short, very round, uh, maybe a badger. You see a short and very circular badger.
What kind of badger?
With a lot, very
American, European.
a British one, but
Okay.
but you see a little bit of that menace of the American
honey
one
badger.
in
Oh
the
my
back
god.
of the eyes. You like think they don't really give you any red flags, but you feel
Well,
like if they had
This is a
to,
stranger to us.
they could fight.
you can't decide that for us. Maybe we do see red flags.
That's fair. I'm so sorry. I honestly so fair. I'm not trying to decide something for you. I swear. I'm just like this. Enki doesn't. You know what?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
you can
say
decide for
Enki
Enki.
doesn't.
Enki
But
doesn't.
there is, yeah. But there is like I think something in the eyes.
Yeah.
Their name is
But
John
and he has a little shovel with him, and he comes he comes up and he says, "Welcome, travelers.
Oh.
What brings you out? Disaster."
Oh,
Uh,
hello.
Rosemary. Rosemary does something that he can always do, which is leap to his feet. And he's already like up on his feet. He's walking, but I think when someone approaches us and it's kind of a surprise, Rosemary sort of like jumps ahead of everyone. Surprisingly nimble for his old age.
Well, didn't mean to startle you there. I'm the yard keeper.
The yard
I-
keeper.
He says it confidently.
I don't know. It seemed like he was unsure.
I was confused. He was not.
It's called a yard keeper in Haith.
I'm sorry, did you say
Graveyard.
yard?
I said graveyard keeper.
Oh.
Oh,
You cut-
Graveyard keeper.
You cut off for a second, I
Graveyard.
think.
Yes.
So all we
Yeah.
heard was yard keeper.
Sorry.
I'm the groundskeeper of bones.
And the bones are good for the yard.
Calcium.
Calcium. Can't feed the milk.
Are the bones his money and the worms are his dollars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you work here. You're not out here giving, saying, seeing your loved one on this night.
Oh. No. My loved ones are buried. Well, over there.
All of them? All of them here?
To cut. Well, not every single one. But many of my family is from this area, and many of them did perish in the war.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Can you tell us anything about the area?
Thank you. Well, it used to be pretty. There used to be apple trees as far as the eye can see. It was lovely. The food was plentiful, and we cared for each other. It was quite a beautiful communal. No one was very independent, and we all took care of each other. You understand. And alas, the military wanted what we had and claimed we were not. They came in and took our food and said they were allocating it, but we never saw most of those apples ever again.
Oh my gosh, they took all your apples.
I took every single apple. I remember as a child, I found an apple on the ground that had rolled out of a cart, and I picked it up to take a bite out of this beautiful apple, and my guard snatched it out of my hand.
That's tragic.
It was my worst apple related memory.
What's your best one?
Oh, when I was but a wee badger pup, kitten, I don't know. My mother brought me, I don't know what they're called, brought me an apple, and it wasn't one of these blue boys and blue lads. It was a proper pink. My mother shared with me this beautiful pink lady.
That sounds
and
magical.
it was lovely. It was
Wow.
I mean, apples. I've come across some good apples in my day with various travelers, but those are definitely the two extremes of my apple related
Real highs
memories.
and low lows.
That's the way
The
it's
high
supposed to
highs
happen.
and the low lows of apple school.
Yeah.
Apple school.
You went to apple school?
Isn't life just one big apple school?
Oh
You know, I
boy. Your
I-
lips to the small god's ears, you know?
and he's just like, no. What does that even mean? What could that possibly mean?
And now I'm going over to the overlay that's just Mila. As Enki will argue with the badger.
Rosemary,
Well, as you go through life, you come across many apples.
Life is like a bushel of
Sorry.
apples. You never know what you're
Yeah,
gonna
you
Probably apples.
could have
some
probably
worms occasionally.
Sometimes. What were you gonna say, Zay?
Yep, extra protein.
I think when Giuseppe and this badger start, Rosemary puts like an arm on Enki and kind of like looks at Maisie as well, and it's like, I think we should just let Giuseppe. Look, he's going to want to be talking about this for a while, so I think we should just let him go.
Yeah, I
Let him go.
Let him ramble along.
And we'll continue our
Cut our
journey with
losses.
someone else instead.
Just sort of let him. We don't ask about the apples enough, and maybe we just let him get it out of his system.
Maisie's gonna like kind of
Do you think you could ever do that?
sorry, Mila, I keep cutting you off because of the lag, I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I think Maisie pulls the two of you in as Giuseppe and the badger are talking and says, okay, I didn't want to say this so Giuseppe could hear, but the way that badger was talking, you know how Giuseppe always talks about this place where everyone cares for the apples and everyone takes care of them equally? I'm kind of worried that this battlefield used to be that place. Melanie just a cough. Just a dry cough. And I'm kind of, I don't know for sure if that's the case, but I just wanted to see if that occurred to either of you, and if so, what should we do about that?
It could be. I guess
Well,
like Giuseppe, I'd hope that there were places nowadays that were a little more peaceful now that the war is done. But Enki, you're the most learned among us.
Now, this is odd for me to say because I have no rational reason to believe this, but this doesn't feel like the place. I also wonder, maybe it's just that one gravedigger who's really into apples. There's no respect that everything was based on apples. I'm pretty sure I've read that this place did produce other produce. I just think they also had apples.
Mm.
I think that person just really, that badger just really likes
He
apples.
did go to apple school.
Yeah, he mentioned an apple school, which I feel like if there was a school, then it would be.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a real thing.
That's just a thing.
It's
That's
I've never heard of that before, but
I've never heard of one in all of my readings, and I've interacted with a lot of students, and none of them have been to an apple school thing.
Well, the only reason why I think there could be an apple school is because I have heard the story of the apple girl and her loving parents.
yeah.
So it could be
I think
related to that.
I
Maybe
think
she went to
that's
apple
just
school.
a folk tale. I think that's just a myth. A folk tale. I don't think. I think that's like an origin story for an apple, not necessarily true events.
Maisie doubts you.
This is a lot more of like Enki just really wants what they're saying to be true.
I'm going to question something others take for granted, which is something I can always do, and fervently believe in the existence of Apple School and the Apple Girl.
So yeah, you were saying that this place used to be really beautiful, and I just not gonna make any promises to you, but I did just give a tiny seed to a small and forgotten god, and told them that they could set things right. So like they have the means. So if you see things changing, I'm just saying, like it might things might like start looking good.
Oh, that's mighty kind of you. Perhaps they will. Oh, and I'm Macintosh Smith. Just I realize I know none of your names.
Solid name. My name's Guiseppe Crabapples. That over there is my friend Maisie, whose last name I don't remember right now. There's Rosemary Rumbkin. I think that's what it is, but the alliteration helps me remember. And then Enki, and I think it's just Enki. I think that's just their whole name. That's all you need.
Well, mighty
right?
fine to meet you all. Yes, of course. Now, some folks just call me Mac, but I prefer Macintosh.
Okay, that's what. I'll call you Macintosh.
Thank you.
Is there anything that we should see in the area before we get on our way?
Well, if you'd like, I can take you on a tour of where the apples used to be.
Yes, please. I would very much like that.
Excellent. Well,
hey, folks, we're gonna go on a tour. We're gonna see where the apples used to be.
Where they used to be?
I mean, they probably were in these trees that we're seeing here, but we're gonna go on a tour. If you want to, I guess you don't have to. Only folks who want to. We can meet you back. I mean, you just head back to Antonio.
I think Maisie.
You see, Enki has such a dilemma of doesn't think they want to spend more time with this badger, but also wants to learn more, and this badger might have some information.
Wait. Why does Enki not want to spend more time with the badger? Because you specifically said that Enki didn't see any red flags about this guy.
That's true, you did.
Just because someone doesn't have red flags does not mean you want to hang out with them. I know a lot of nice people I do not care.
I'm with Mila on this one.
It's not a red flag. It's just
not a red flag.
I just don't like you.
Thinks life is like an apple school. And
there's no red flags, but there's not a lot of green ones either.
Life is like an apple school.
Yeah.
If you think about it, but not too long.
How, Giuseppe? How? Giuseppe?
Maisie looks to Rosemary and says, do you think we should be worried about he's carrying a shovel. Do you think that is like, why? Why do you think?
Well, they call themselves like a graveyard keeper, so I
Are there
suppose they've been
still
burying bodies.
are there still bodies to bury?
Could be. The battle was a long time ago, but there were quite a few, quite a lot. And low-lying areas like this, with all the flooding, it's possible they keep getting washed back up.
Jam. Jam. It's Jam Cam.
I mean, he'd like it to be. Yes, pardon the interruption while I try to not have my cat destroy my entire setup. Rosemary is like, I think maybe that's a question worth asking.
Maisie, one of the things that she has with her is I think it's a small weapon for self-defense is part of my look. Yeah, a small weapon for self-defense. So like kind of just has a hand on it, but does like agree to, and I think it's like a little knife, so it's like something that's kind of multi-purpose, and kind of has it like her hand on her pocket where it is, or like in her pocket where it is, as she like reluctantly agrees, not reluctantly, but like maybe a little nervously agrees to go on the Apple tour, or the the Ghost of Apple's Past tour.
Oh my gosh. This truly is a spooky stream.
I think Rosemary sees that, like your hand go to your knife, and he says, he kind of like stops you, just very gently lays a hand on your shoulder, kind of looks down to it. And, let's try to make sure it doesn't come to that, okay?
I think that Maisie bristles a little bit at that. And I feel like maybe this is a conversation that we've had before, Rosemary, where Maisie like insists on keeping this small weapon, and insists on like that she may have to use it at some point. And so kind of bristles a little bit. And I think I was looking at my moves to see if there's a specific one I have for this one. There's not. And I think just says maybe not intending to be hurtful, but I think it probably is hurtful. Says, just because you never draw your weapon doesn't mean that I can't draw mine.
Oh shit.
This is definitely a conversation we've had before, and Rosemary sort of straightens, and I think his hand was sort of lingering near the hilt of his sword, and it like quickly drops stiffly to his side. I'm gonna do something I can always do from my playbook, which is say, I don't do that anymore. And well, I shouldn't.
All the more reason for me to be ready.
If it comes to that, you're safe here. Let's hope. No, maybe hope has nothing to do with it. Let's try to build a better world.
I think
that's what we fought for, isn't it?
Maisie nods. And actually, one of the things, so when we did our session 0, like I had picked some things for my playbook and then ended up changing them. So one of the things that I changed is one of my beliefs that I reject is killing is always, always wrong. So I think that Maisie doesn't continue to argue, but just doesn't take her hand from her knife in her pocket. And I think this is like because this is a thing that we've argued about so many times. doesn't want like it's kind of the thing where you know what the other person is going to say, so just starting the argument you kind of know how the whole thing is going to go. So Maisie just like keeps her hand in her pocket and follows behind Giuseppe and Macintosh.
A thing that the battlefield can always do is describe the barrows, bodies, and broken blades that past battles left behind. I'm curious if on the tour that we're about to get from Macintosh, if some of those things could be pointed out.
Oh. Well,
I see you still carry around a shovel. Is that just like bodies? You know,
gotta bury the bones.
There's still a lot of bones, huh? Oh wow.
Oh, yes.
Gosh.
Yep, lots of bones.
Still, so not just like you're reburying.
So you
they're
see
like
what
still
happens.
buried first, like the first time they're getting buried.
If I miss them, yep.
I mean, you know, to err is to be alive, right? So you miss things sometimes.
To
you
err
know?
as animal.
Are you the only one then? Has nobody else come to take care of the remains?
Originally there were more. There were originally more, but as more, you know.
Oh, we're losing Mila.
That hard
No,
push.
Macintosh, come back!
No.
Macintosh, come Macintosh.
You're back, I think.
Oh, good. Originally there was more, but after that first push, when we got most of them buried, people wanted to go home, and they left, and now it's just me to do maintenance and to you know, find the ones that we missed.
Gosh, that's hard.
And of course, yes, well, someone's got to do it. And you know, with the wetlands, things get brought up. One time, I was delivering jewelry to my friend down the way, and I was walking through the wetlands because I thought it would be faster, and I stopped and looked in, and it was just a face. It was
That'll wake
horrifying.
you up.
Sure did.
Gosh.
I almost fell in. My friend Sam almost had to bring me out there, rescue me.
Your friend who?
Sam.
Samuel.
Oh,
yes.
Sam.
Apple Sam.
I thought
That's what I call him.
I thought you said Van Dam. And then I was like, my Van Dam had to pull me up.
My Van Dam had to do me a solid. Had to pull me up. Grab my cloak. Pull me back to the air. Yep.
That's spooky
Lucky
as
someone
hell.
was there.
No, that's my least favorite jewelry-related memory.
Jewelry?
What's your favorite?
Wait, how was jewelry
I
involved?
proposed. I was delivering jewelry. I was delivering jewelry to my friend, a ring specifically, and
okay.
then I fell in. My most favorite is proposing to my wife.
Said that so. You said
she's
that
not
so...
with us anymore.
Oh.
She moved back in with her mother.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Real wild turn of emotions there.
I feel the more can describe what makes someone feel lonely, and I feel like Macintosh is just doing that this entire time.
I was going to say that. Yeah, at the start of that spiel, I was like, I'm going to add some details. I was just very lonely, and then we got it. Max,
you didn't need to.
I'm losing my mind right now of the way Max so flatly said that his favorite memory was proposing to his wife, which I was going to comment on, and like she's no longer with us.
And then immediately she moved back in with her mother.
She moved away.
With us? Who?
Yeah,
wait, do you have
Sam.
do you have like kids or? Or
Is it
is
Sam?
it like a...
Oh, yeah, we have one son, but he's teaching at Apple School.
Is that a
teaching at Apple School?
is that
Oh, it's a good job. Good
Is
job
that a
if you can get it.
euphemism?
So he's
There you
not
go.
here very.
It's
No,
hard work. You know what? At the Apple School, they got the core curriculum, right?
they sure do. They sure do.
Ah,
Oh, my
But it's
boy.
not
I
a
miss my days at
it-
Apple School.
it's not a medical school. Because they can't get doctors to come
No, it's
anywhere
an
near it.
Apple. Yeah. They actually, you know how that phrase got started is when the doctors would walk past the Apple School, the students would start belting them with apples.
What?
That will keep anyone away.
Taste of apple, I don't know why they did it. But those were the days when we had plenty and wanted not.
Swimming in apples.
Swimming in apples.
And where is Apple School? Maisie's looking around at this like barren like,
Oh,
nothing here.
it's not here. It's where the apples are, and that's not here anymore. That's why my boy is far away. Definitely
Well,
alive.
maybe soon, and maybe you'll be able to move on back.
Oh, perhaps with that apple pumpkin. Pumpkin
What?
apple. The seed you planted by the pumpkin.
Oh yeah, I didn't think I was
Yes.
giving it to the pumpkin, but
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you were creating a new hybrid of a.
were you
Good.
wait,
Yeah,
hold
apple
on. Were you
board.
watching us while we were doing little gifts?
No, you told me.
I told you about
You told
the
me
gift
like
I
5
gave,
minutes ago.
right? Because that was separate. That was a separate thing.
You gave an apple to a small god of the pumpkin.
Yep.
It's okay if you were watching us.
Yeah.
Like if you just accidentally saw us.
No, that would be.
It's a bit
that'd be
strange
weird.
if you were watching us and for all that time you didn't say anything.
Yeah, you work
Yeah,
here,
that's
so.
true. That would be weird. You definitely wouldn't want to admit to that. Anyways, you were looking for things on the graveyard.
I'm gonna do something else that my playbook can always do, which is when Max starts rambling on.
You draw your
I'm
sword
gonna-
and kill him.
Not yet.
Please put me out of my misery.
I'm gonna like lean in and look at Mac and have you got something to tell us, friend? And I'm using a move that is ask someone, what are you hiding?
Do they get a
My
token?
son doesn't go to Apple School. He's unemployed.
Oh,
That's not even what we were asking.
It's not what you're asking tonight.
My wife blames me. Part of why we got it. Why we're separated. I don't know. She said I never pushed him hard enough. Too gentle of a parent.
Rosemary's looking like flustered at the sudden display of emotion, candid emotion. Just a second, do you want to maybe if you'd like to step back in? I don't know.
Into what? Rosemary.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Macintosh
You
plants
uncorked
his shovel and turns around and stares off into the distance, and then doesn't say anything, and then a few moments later turns back around. Totally normal like before.
So a thing I can always do is offer someone cider, and I'm just gonna kind of like pat myself down and realize I have a hip flask and be like, here. We were just toasting to
Chugs it.
oh yep.
Oh wow. Well,
It's non-alcoholic, of course.
It just makes me feel better inside. I can pretend it's alcohol.
Sure. Yeah, I'm glad you drank it all. It makes my tummy hurt. So That's good.
Why do you have it?
I had to give it to people. People like
Oh,
cider.
that's very kind of you. Well, in repayment, you did ask about a tour, and you wanted to see swords and bloodshed. What was your question?
Oh, I don't think I wouldn't ask for something like that. You were
I'm
just gonna show us around the area.
I might be interested in seeing
Oh,
some
yes.
historical locations.
Oh
though.
yeah, Maisie would love that actually. Now that
Oh,
you mention
yes.
it.
Yes, come. And so I walk like a foot, and then I stop and say, "This is where apples used to be." Now these are the yellow, delicious. They're extinct now.
Oh, good.
And then another foot, pink ladies. And then over here were their bastard brothers.
Oh yeah, the sundowners.
The sundowners. We don't talk about the sundowners here. Oh, and also as we're walking, and then we start walking and say, also we did we also had a lot of potatoes. We also grew grain. We actually grew a number of things, but I'm quite partial to the apples.
Oh,
Anyway,
Where-
over there, you see that sword? That is where someone important died with a sword.
Who?
Someone important.
But who?
how do you do that?
Well, they had a really nice sword.
Did you bury the sword?
And over here is where. No, it's sticking out of the ground.
Like a headstone kind of thing?
Yeah, it's just in there. Over here is where my cousin Josiah sold apples.
Sold them in the
And then
middle
over
of
here,
Okay.
yes,
This
Sorry,
is a
yes,
breakneck
he thought the
speed of a
soldiers would get hungry.
weird steps.
He thought the soldiers would get hungry. He died just over there, and it's right beside where I was pointing it out to you.
What did the sword look like that was stuck in the
I
ground?
think Maisie goes over to the sword.
Oh, great question. I think the sword had one of those like curly kind of like hilts. I think it's more of like that kind of like rapier style with the thing, and like the any leather that had been on it is now like rusted away, but it's definitely like well crafted. And I think there's some jewels that were left. I think there's a lot of travelers, but I suspect not a ton of them are like out and about in there unless it's like you're going and like paying respects. And so I think they're actually there. They're not like the most like diamonds or anything, but I think they're just like some nice like semi-precious stones like turquoise or something like that on the hilt pushed into it. And it has a little stamp of like the maker like right at the bottom of the blade.
Oh.
One of the things I can always do is tell stories of revolution, which I've been doing, but tell stories of revolutions past, those I was there for, or stories I've heard, or a story I claim that I was there for. And I think when Maisie goes over and looks more closely at this sword, definitely wasn't here for this and won't claim to be, but recognizes it as being a weapon. I think because there were gems and stuff on it, I feel like it would be for not a sword of the rebellion, but someone on the opposing side, which we haven't really decided very much about either.
Yeah.
But I think sees it, and her eyes, which are already very intense, kind of go dark a little bit looking at the sword, and her brow furrows, and she says, "Oh, I recognize the sword. I remember the stories about the many lives of good people that it took. It's a shame. It's so beautiful, but it did so many horrible things."
Is this one of those kind of weapons that has a name because it's so infamous?
Yeah, I think Maisie nods. And now I have to think of a name for a sword. Unless someone
You're
else
welcome.
has unless someone else has an idea. Um I feel like it should be something like blood drinker or something like that. Um is like the name of the
Soul
sword.
Sipper.
Soul Zipper?
Soul Sipper.
Oh, Soul Sipper. Yeah.
I like the daintiness that sipper implies because I don't feel like this seems like it would belong to a person who survived because of not because they were down to earth or anything like that. Like this is
Yeah.
someone who was just very well trained. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do like Soul Sipper.
Cool. Yeah, so the sword is named Soul Sipper. um and yeah, I think Maisie kind of starts telling stories about, I don't know why. I feel like I think it's like a knight who had who had Soul Sipper, who is like a lion, I think. And starts talking
Ooh.
about like telling stories about this like the merciless, I don't know a name for this lion, the merciless Sir something. I don't know.
Figlio.
Sure. The merciless Sir Figlio.
Can
Um
it be Lady Lion?
yeah, I think it's still
Because
Sir
they're
though. I think it's like
yeah,
SER. Yeah.
yeah.
Um yeah, so the merciless Sir Figlio. And is like telling these stories about all of the examples of like times that this knight like rode into a town and like claimed that she was there for like some sort of righteous reason, and all of the fallout from her being there, and all of the times that she struck down people who only drew their weapons to defend themselves against her, and she used that as like an excuse to strike them down. And times that I think the thing that Maisie gets like really upset thinking about is telling the story that she heard of from someone that she knew from the rebellion, and says there was a story one of my friends told me about how Sir Figlio, one time there were some people in a town that she came to who gave her everything that she asked, and she just didn't like their tone. And she always claimed that she would refuse to fight anyone unless they were armed. But all that meant is that she would force them to take some of her cast off weapons before she killed them. And Maisie looks like very like is getting like sad but also like angry the more that she thinks about it, and it's like, and this is why the rebellion was needed, and this is why it was good that we fought back against people like those knights.
Ay, that's where violence brings us, isn't it? It's about control, power, and who wields it. Respect, in some ways, like our knight here. becomes its own end. Stops being a means to anything eventually. And that's where we all end up. And Rosemary like kicks a little bit of dirt onto this grave.
Maisie, I'm going to, I think this is a thing. Yeah, I can get a token whenever I speak my true feelings on a subject. And Maisie's gonna say, good riddance and spits on the grave of where this knight was.
I mean, it's true what they say, huh? You live by the sword, you die by the sword. Makes sense that she would end here.
I suppose it is.
Still doesn't, yeah. Doesn't feel right to do anything to the grave, right? Still a place where someone's left. I'm not saying what you did was fine, Maisie. I was just like
Maisie's like pissing on it.
literally that's fine. I was like thinking like,
Hey,
break the
hey,
sword.
hey.
I don't know.
You were thinking. Sorry, I heard you say you were thinking something of sword.
No, I was just thinking in my head of like what I could do, and I was like, do I break the sword? No, that's crazy. This is someone's grave.
Not a good person's grave. I think you should break the sword if you want to.
No, I'll leave that to somebody else.
Maisie eyes the sword, thinking about breaking it.
But also, like, the groundskeeper, the areas here. So, like, I don't think in Macintosh, you probably don't want us defacing graves, right? Even if they were like really piss poor people.
For good here are a memory and a remnant of what happened, and I think it's best that we leave it the way that it is.
Yeah, covered in piss now. Just absolutely soaked in the stuff.
I did not actually piss on the grave.
That's wild because it smells like piss over here.
It's things just smell bad around here, you know.
It's the graveyard after all.
I need to give myself a token for doing that.
I feel like I'm always just speaking my true feelings.
Yeah,
I don't think I've lied a single time.
Then you should be taking tokens.
Just be taking tokens all the time.
Yeah, what do we do? What are we doing next?
Is that the end of the tour? Or is this the end?
Oh, I mean, there's lots more apples to show.
Well, lots more dead apples, I guess.
Oh, yes. Lots of dead apple trees that I can tell you all about.
Macintosh, how long ago was it that your wife went to live with her mom?
Oh, about 3 years ago.
And do you ever
then
talk?
I told my son he needs to get his stuff together, and out of anger, and so he left, and I haven't talked to him since. But we haven't spoken in person.
You haven't talked to either your son or your wife.
You haven't talked to him.
Oh no, my wife has just sent me letters asking for her stuff back, and I told her she needs to come face me if she wants it back. She still hasn't gotten it.
I think I want to spend a token. I want to spend a token to find what someone needs to give them a chance to change fundamentally.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, put that back.
I mean, it sounds. If you don't mind me saying, it sounds like maybe you just need to. You need to go face her. Like it sounds like she was upset because you weren't taking action. You weren't, a man of action, a man of your word. And I mean, you've been nothing but straightforward with us here. So I feel like you certainly haven't lied to us about like watching us ahead of time. You would have told us.
Or telling us that your son
I sure would have told you.
And see, you
And
know,
the
you
red
can
ones,
like you told
because
us
it's
that you went to Apple
humiliating.
school, and then you came clean, and like that's growth, right? And what's
Yes.
life if not growth? So you know, it
Just
gives you
like
kind
an
of like a
apple
pat
tree,
on the
like an
back.
apple school.
Gives you the pat on the back,
Yep.
and be like, you know what? It sounds like there's still life in this marriage of yours, and you get your boy back. You know, you life is too short to not talk to our kin.
I do need my boy back. You're right.
Bring back my boy.
Bring back my boy. Father, help.
It's been, I mean, it sounds like it's been 3 years since you saw your son, so maybe he has a job now. And if he has a job, then your wife will be happy with you. So
Maybe he is teaching up. Maybe he's made me an honest liar. You know, he
Yeah.
stops and surveys all the mass grave site that we've created here, and he looks at it and he's like, you know, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go see my wife. And
Oh heck yeah.
yeah. And where are you headed next?
Well, I don't know.
my
Wherever
wife
this
lives-
road goes, I guess.
My wife lives I guess she lives or moved back. Her mother lives back the way you came, so unfortunately I will not be able to accompany you.
Shucks. Yeah, I was gonna say there's room on the cart if you wanted to come along with,
Oh.
but
Well, it's got room for more.
Thank you. I was gonna ask, but I think I must set out on my own. On my own way.
you can go your own way.
And we never saw the graveyard.
what? we never what?
We never saw him again. He walked.
The last we see the art.
Awesome made of mist.
The
All you could
badger.
smell-
Thought he was a badger,
all
but he
you-
was
all-
awesome.
I should have done that. As you,
It's not too late. It's not too
you,
late.
Maybe the sun is the possum.
Yes, he's never mind.
We see the badger
walking.
walking down the road, and then we see a possum made of mist, arms outstretched, saying, "Papa."
Aren't you proud of me? Oh.
I'm teaching apple school.
I've
Is
become
he
a
dead
myth.
or astral projecting?
Oh, I like
Made out
that
of mist,
better.
baby. It's all mist.
Myth?
Mist all the way down. baby.
I missed you so much, Father.
And then they both disappear into dust.
Mhm. Yeah, and then you have to go, was that? Was
Is that
that
real?
a real
And
badger?
then we all wake up.
Yeah, I was
We
gonna
all
say,
woke up.
we never traveled together.
This was all a dream.
Good. Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like all of that is its own sort of its own folklore of this location now. Who knows what's really true or what really happened?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Who knows?
Um
Enki turns to you and says, I want to leave.
Yeah, it feels like we should, huh?
It doesn't feel like it anymore. I think we should be all right.
No. I
It's
feel
starting
like
to
he's
get a little
around
bad
every
out
corner
here,
and
though.
I don't like it. Oh. Enki, like, you know, shakes and water kind of like comes off and he's like, perhaps we
this,
should get somewhere with more cover.
this guy looks pretty queer.
So do we all.
So do we all. Canon. We all are queer in.
and so
Not
is the
necessarily, we just
sky.
all look queer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. We don't stereotype us.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
both senses of the word.
Yes.
Yeah, they all have rolled up their cuffed pants.
These people don't know how to sit on a chair. Interesting.
It is a little wild that all four of us are wearing Doc Martens.
It is also.
Oh, I never even realized.
We do have a pansexual or a pot
Potsexual,
pot
which I
sexual.
No.
think I like that. I don't like the implication.
I'm helping you clean that pot a lot.
Are you talking to me above table or?
Yeah, because your head's so dirty.
Yeah, I didn't even wash this before I put it on my head. I just used a dirty pot. So I like it.
Horrifying.
You take off the pot, there's just like some noodles on your head now.
Looks like a bad wig all of a sudden.
Yeah, your hair comes off as well, and it's all noodles.
Betty spaghetti.
Oh, I was gonna say you look like this little weasel that I know of who sings Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
A little weasel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, years ago. Noodle looking hair.
Oh, the ramen. I see.
Yeah.
It's crazy that Justin Timberlake already sounds like a Wander Home name.
Yeah, I stopped trying to think about a name, and I'm like, it's Timberlake. It's perfect.
Yeah, and Justin. Yeah, I think it sounds like we're ready to leave this location. And we had talked about. Oh, Zay, were you gonna say something?
I think that, if we're all getting ready to go, I do want to do something that the road can always do.
Ooh.
And that's keep someone from getting where they're trying to go.
Oh.
And I think when we come back to our little caravan, we discover that one of our wagons has had trouble with its axle. There's a wheel coming off.
Yeah.
Who in our caravan do you think is having trouble with their wagon?
I think it's a beautiful cat with a tambourine.
No.
He's like, oh dear, what?
Oh, I like this.
My reel. How will I ever get out of this mud?
And the cat has like their skirt like hiked up and a gorgeous leg out into the road.
Help!
Enki, Isabel, you could just ask one of us. What is this show?
Oh, please. Won't someone help my axle?
Isabel, please.
Oh, woe is me, my broken axle.
Isabel, did you break the axle for attention again?
I think
no, why would I want to be stuck here with everyone helping little old me?
Please, can someone fix Isabel's axle?
Oh, I wish you would.
Please. So, please, someone.
She is draped on her cart like someone on a piano, like lounging. Like it's like, oh my goodness.
I want to introduce that she has a little husband who's a pangolin. Who is next to her and is like trying to fix the axle and just looks so embarrassed and like he can't do it. And he's like, I'm sorry, dear. I'm doing the best that I can. It's like trying to fix
someone big and strong help my husband.
Right there.
This is them trying to find a third, I feel like.
Okay.
Someone big
Enki
and
very
strong.
specifically kind of like
agenda.
I think Enki calls down a Rottweiler that's traveling with us, and it's like, Please. You were a blacksmith. You have to know how to fix this.
Ooh.
Oh, this is well, the problem's with the cart itself. It's the wood on the axle. It's not. I work with metal. This is.
Why would the axle be made out of wood?
I mean, that's probably why it
Isabel.
failed, but how would I know? I don't know.
Yes, Isabel, why would you buy this?
It's a poor choice, but
Do you
honestly,
have
kind of
a metal
shoddy
axle?
wagon.
Do you think maybe if I could squeeze your strong arms, ma'am, then maybe that could help you fix the axle?
That's not gonna help.
We never know.
Sure help me.
We try.
I think maybe we should well, we should go about finding, I think, a better axle for them. Real.
We've been looking
real
for an
fast.
axle, if you know what I mean.
We sure have. Once we find one, I hope someone sticks it in there and fixes our car.
Really greases our wheels.
The Rottweiler's girlfriend walks up.
Oh, the more hands, the better.
Oh, I didn't realize we could have two axles.
Well, you do want to have two axles. You're probably gonna have four wheels, so you're gonna need an axle.
You.
And you're gonna wanna.
Oh.
You're gonna
I
need
do
Who are
wanna.
your friends?
I do wanna.
The pangolin dives under the wagon, and then you hear a crack, and the front half of the wagon.
Oh no, the other way.
Oh, our second axle.
We have room in our caravan if you'd like to join us. It's quite sparse. We could use some more company.
We'll be kind of. It'll be cozy, but we can make it work.
But to butt,
we're
would you
gonna be all
say?
pressed up against each other.
Mila, can you say that again? Because there was a lag, and I need a clear take of what the girlfriend just said.
Okay. Oh, would we be butt to butt? Would you say?
Oh. Well, if we simply must, then we must.
If you insist, I mean, it sounds like you two know best.
You know, butts.
That's nothing. That's nothing, Isabel. That's nothing. You're blowing it.
Henry, keep calm. We've almost got this in the bag.
The Rottweiler looks around. I don't know if anyone. I don't think there'll be room for all of us up on the front bench. If anyone else would like to drive our we've got room on the wagon for one more. If anyone wants to take the reins, and all sort of make sure we all get cozy in the back here.
There's a recent adult otter who is traveling and is like, I'll drive.
A recent adult? Is that what you said?
Yes,
Yep.
they can run.
That is what they said.
What does that mean?
And they're adult and can drive, but are still excited to drive.
Okay, yeah.
Unlike adults.
I don't know if I like the idea of getting a
maybe someone older.
Adult.
Someone a little bit more experienced.
And I'm old enough to drive if you just needed help. Walks off very sadly.
I don't think they have enough experience to drive.
Any non-virgin driver.
Why are you all like this?
Zay, is this what you wanted?
Giuseppe.
No, it's better.
Giuseppe, they need a driver.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, shoot. You know what? Actually, Antonio's pretty auto driving, so I could probably get on over here. We're going the same way, right, folks? Okay, let's get going.
I am going to spend a token. And I'm going to spend a token to find out what someone needs to give them a chance to change fundamentally. And I go up to Isabella. Rosemary goes up and is like, Isabella, and I don't know your name yet. I don't think. She looks at the pangolin.
Oh,
Henry.
Henry.
This is my husband, Henry.
Henry, Isabella.
I'm her husband, but that,
You.
it doesn't, we're open to things.
Oh, I'm not
Yeah,
judging.
rings have, there's a hole in them,
Mhm.
I don't wish to know. This isn't about that, honestly. Just you don't have to put on the whole show. This is the third time, and you don't have to do it. You can just ask. You could just if you want to put a flyer on the board.
Rosemary, this is part of it.
It's part of it.
Well,
it's called foreplay, darling.
Well, it should be better if you didn't involve all the rest of us in it too.
I mean, that's part of it too. But that's why we're bad. We're bad,
consenting.
Well, I'm just saying, there's some younger members of the caravan, and perhaps, well, we're gonna have to leave a wagon behind now. So, just I'm saying, you can ask. None of us mind.
We're awfully sorry, Rosemary.
Yeah, you've really, really chided us, and we feel so bad.
We feel terrible. We're so sorry.
All right, I don't think this has got to be the last time. You're sort of just like hands up.
We're sorry.
We're really sorry.
Sorry.
I shouldn't have said anything. Now it's in.
I love this couple. I love them so much.
I love the entire caravan as a polycule, and then it's just our character.
Honestly, probably.
It's incredible.
Well, that's
these four people.
Giuseppe is out too.
Already have an established relationship. This was all for. This was.
Yeah.
This
The
is
reason
all
why
show.
the cart's so bad is they do this. They just buy like a cheap, shitty cart. It's like whatever. We can just leave it. It's like made of cardboard or something. Who cares?
Is this horse wood? Useless. There's just a trail of carts. That's the way we travel.
If we ever, I don't know if there's an event in which someone would be tracked in this, that's how we're getting found.
Yeah, far, far behind. There's an evil ghost that's stalking us.
Ghost sees the cart and then looks up, and the camera pans from the ghost to the road, and you just see every 8 miles there's a cart.
Perfect. That's Wander Home.
That's a wander home, baby. We did it.
We did something.
You should.
This at least puts us back like an hour, like a half hour of just like before we trying to go on
there's
the
a
road.
whole show.
A half hour?
Moving
Oh.
supplies
At least.
over from one caravan
Yeah.
to from one wagon to the other.
Yeah, they have to move all their boxes of sex toys from one caravan to the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
And they're all
It's a lot.
labeled like
It's a
very
lot.
extensively. And
Oh,
Henry
damn,
does
it's like-
Henry does
Gotta
drop
get
one of
snapped.
them at one point and goes, oops. And it's like 100
Henry.
gags.
There's an ant dildo that just falls out.
Oops.
It's made by a
So
bad bearded
glad that came
dragon.
back up.
Do we want to have the storm clouds begin to roll in
I
as
think
we're
that's a good
Sure.
wrapping up?
I think some of the boxes also get damaged because it's been starting to rain, and it just soaks it too much, so it loses its integrity.
Oh no, my
So then,
handy penises.
Henry's just arms trying to juggle them. Oh!
No,
Oh
the
my
sugar,
gosh.
it's deteriorating.
Okay, well, here's what I'll say. So this is just to kind of get us set up for next time, because this is about the time that we wanted to wrap up. So as we are heading to our next location, the wind is starting to pick up, which is setting us up for the biggest storm in a while. A grasping storm, or north gale, as they're so often called, is a mercifully rare and oft miserable experience. The frightfully cold wind roars down from the north, bringing lightning, thunder, black skies, and gales so strong that trees fall and buildings break. The most unusual aspect of a grasping storm is the lack of rain. Even if sometimes there will be sleet or hail that shatters windows and dents rooftops, you'll never see a drop of rain during a north gale. When this phenomenon occurs, you are stuck
Oh.
in whatever place you were most recently. It's not safe to travel. Everyone who says they're taking shelter with, everyone says who they're taking shelter with or where they're hiding out. Whatever place you are in or you arrive is now a maelstrom in addition to whatever else it was. The biggest storm for a while lasts for the duration of grasping and quiets down by candle feast. So wherever, I think the wind is just starting to pick up as we are like getting the caravan back on the road, which is a little inclination that wherever we head next, we might end up getting stuck there for a little while. Yeah. Melanie, it looked
I
like you
know
were going
one
to say something.
wagon that's gonna be plenty warm though.
If the wagons are rocking, don't come knocking.
They picked it. I'm gonna go. Dibs on Rosemary.
Wow.
Okay.
What yeah, I think that's a good place for us to wrap up. So we'll go around this time in reverse order of how we started. So this time we'll start with Zay. Everyone can go around and let people know where else they can find you, what other kind of stuff you have going on, etc., etc.
Yeah, I've been Zay, so you don't have to be. Well, don't laugh at that. That wasn't any good. That was nothing. What's not nothing is the few games that I've written. I am an RPG player and occasional guest and designer. I have a handful of small games up on my itch page, Wild J Blue. One of them is the award-winning one is currently on sale for half off until I think tomorrow afternoon or evening, sometime tomorrow. I don't remember exactly when I said it, but you can get it half off. I have another spooky game up that is totally free called Things Best Left Buried, and a couple of other games if you want to check them out.
Yeah, and you should. Zay's links are in the chat right now for their itch page and also their Tumblr. Mila, what about you?
I have been Mila. Someone else could be too if they wanted. I'm not some people. And I would also like to plug Zay's games because they write some really good games. And I would, the one that my personal favorite of Zay's games is that You Can Never Go Back.
You can't go back
title?
again.
You can't go back again. Thank you. I swear it is my favorite. But also totally human, normal human roommates is also good. I know your games. I played them.
Hey,
They
The
have
titles, all the
I don't
games.
give them good.
Go buy
I don't give them
all
good
of Zay's
titles.
games. Yeah,
I don't give them good titles. I don't make them easy to remember.
you make them good though. Like they're really good. But
You make them
I'm
real
of the
good.
opinion you should just go and buy every single one of Zay's games. They're very good. I got to test play 2 of them, and they were both excellent.
And one of them,
But yeah, so that my plug is Zay.
one of them won a crit award, which I always bring up because
So-
Zay never does.
Mm-hmm.
I did say one of them is award winning.
Yes.
You
You
didn't
didn't
say
say
what
award.
award.
You didn't say
Okay.
which award.
Yeah, that's true. And also, recently you tweeted and were like, technically it won an award, and it wasn't technical at all. It
Technically,
just
so
did.
it won an award. Why are we saying technically? It did. Correct. Why would
Because I
you
feel
need
weird
to?
about it and I can't accept a compliment is why.
Wow.
It's not even a compliment. It's just a fact.
It's just a thing that happened. It's an
I
event.
would also like to say I voted for that game.
Mhm.
Which
Yeah.
I do appreciate.
Alright.
I do love.
Melanie.
Melanie, what do you have to say?
Hi, I've been Melanie Andrews, playing this game with these wonderful people. My plug would also be to get Zay's games. Playing You Can't Go Back Again is maybe one of my favorite gaming experiences I've had. I think about it often. I think about Cabbage, like in the plane, spiraling down when we first met up. I think all of our characters are
It's
so
so
good.
good.
Thinking about getting to, I played a character named Mesa who was a rock person, and I love her and I miss her. Yeah, you should definitely buy their games because they're all very good, and you're a fool not to. If you want to buy, if you can't be sated by all of their games, you could also buy some of my partners' games. Take Lions on itch.io. They're the person who created OK Cryptid, amongst many other things that they've written, and they're working on another Norse-inspired game right now called Fager. And for me personally, my partner and I are actually working on a podcast that will probably get released next year called Get Richie or Guy Trying, where we watch all of Guy Ritchie's movies in an effort, an ill-fated effort to find out what it means to make a Guy Ritchie movie. So if you are so inclined to listen to a podcast of two weirdos giving their opinions on movies, like most podcasts are, you should check that out. Or not, that's fine.
You should, because the rest of us are anxiously awaiting it.
We'll see. We'll see.
And as for me, my name is Taylor Felicity, and you can find me here on this channel. And actually, for the rest of this month, you can find all of us on this channel on every other Thursday. So not next Thursday, but the 16th and the 30th. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll be here playing more Wanderhome, and telling more of this story and this journey that we're on together. You can also follow me on YouTube, which is also Roll for Felicity. Let me just get those links in the chat right now. And on YouTube, you can see a bunch of other games that I've run in the past, including the one that I most recently put up on YouTube is a one-shot that I ran last year of Babes in the Wood, which is inspired by Over the Garden Wall, and takes place on Halloween, so it's very seasonal. That's pretty much what I have going on right now. But you can also follow me. I'm on Blue Sky now. So you can follow me on Blue Sky, Twitter, and Tumblr, where I talk about other stuff that I'm working on or things that I'm thinking about. And you should follow me on Tumblr because I write really good little
Can I also
articles.
plug Taylor's Tumblr?
Yeah, I write cool
I'm
little
gonna
articles.
interrupt Taylor plugging herself to plug Taylor. You have some really good posts on Tumblr about role playing, and they are very good. And I highly recommend people go read them as a second opinion.
And you should read them.
I do have a lot of hot takes.
They're very good, accurate. They're good, accurate takes. Is what
That's what I think
about
too.
to say.
But the people disagree.
Yeah.
The people rail
What
against
do they
me.
know?
The people hate what I have to say, but I'll say it anyway.
Total diversion, but Mila, the message that you just sent me, were you talking about that you just read the first Warrior Cats book? Is that what you just messaged me?
That is what I just messaged you because we were talking about it in Ohio.
Also, a podcast that might happen at some point next year.
Plugging the vague.
Taylor, Zay, and I are going to read all of the Warrior Cats books.
Let's plug a hypothetical podcast.
Idea that we have.
Want to happen.
Yeah, if you're in chat and you want to see
you can have a hypothetical
podcast,
guest.
Yeah.
If you would like to listen to a podcast where three people who've never experienced Warrior Cats do for the first time, and it see how it changes them fundamentally as people.
Mhm.
Just let us
Say,
know.
you have to have read Warrior Cats. You had to be a Warrior Cats kid.
No, none of us
Is that
are.
an insult?
Guys,
I don't
we have
believe
to. We
Zay
have.
specifically was not a
We
Warrior
simply
Cats
must.
I
kid.
have
We
to
have
cut
to let the
away.
audience go. We cannot do this.
I just immediately end the stream. I don't even go to the ending scene.
Put a
Sure,
poem
yeah.
on the people
Breathe
that
that
they
and up.
on stage.
All right, we've goofed off long enough. Do you all want to say goodbye to chat and goodbye to the YouTube VOD?
Good night, Chad.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, chat. Goodbye,
Goodbye,
YouTube.
YouTube.
I love you.
Bye.